When we think about being a great communicator, we usually focus on talking, right? Finding the right words, making our point. But what if the most powerful skill we have is actually something we do in complete silence? I'm talking about listening. We do it all the time, but for most of us, it's the skill we've practiced the least. So let's get into what's really getting in the way, and more importantly, how we can start to fix it. So just think about your average day for a second. How much of your time communicating is spent talking versus listening? Well, the research is pretty clear. We spend about 45% of our communication time just listening. That is nearly half our day. You'd think with that much practice, we'd all be absolute pros at it, wouldn't you? But we're not. So what's going on here? If we spend almost half our lives with our ears open, why is it that we're often so bad at it? It's not because we aren't trying. The truth is, there are these invisible forces at work, quietly sabotaging our conversations before we even get a chance. And that brings us right to the heart of the issue, what we can call the listening paradox. It's this fascinating puzzle that once you solve it can totally transform how you connect with people, at work and, well, everywhere else. And here's the thing. This really isn't about you personally being a bad listener. We are all dealing with the exact same hidden barriers. And these aren't just tiny distractions. We're talking about major roadblocks that can completely derail a conversation. So let's put on our detective hats for a minute. We're going to expose these hidden saboteurs. And we're going to start with the ones that are closest to home, the ones that are hiding inside our own minds. Okay, so our first stop is looking inward. These are the internal hurdles, all the mental baggage we carry into every single conversation. It's everything from our own biases to the funny way our brains are wired. These internal barriers can be really sneaky. It could be a bias against a certain topic that just makes you instantly tune out, or the fact that one word can mean something totally different to you than it does to the person speaking. But then there's a really fascinating one, something called the listening speed gap. Have you ever been listening to someone and suddenly realize your mind has just drifted off? Well, there's a scientific reason for that. See, the average person speaks at about 125 words per minute, but our brains, they can process information at over 400 words per minute. That huge difference is the idle brain gap. And that's prime real estate for daydreaming about your to-do list or what you're going to have for dinner. So what do we do with all that extra brain power? Well, you don't have to slow your brain down. The trick is to put that idle time to good use. Actively use it to analyze what the person is really saying, to think about their perspective, and to connect the dots in their message. But that speed gap isn't the only saboteur in our heads. Ever sat in a meeting and thought, oh, I already know all this? Boom, you've just mentally checked out. Or maybe a topic just feels too complicated, or it's emotionally heavy, so we disengage. Even our deepest personal values can act like a filter, twisting the message before we even have a chance to really hear it. All right, so now that we've dug into the barriers inside our heads, let's look at the ones that are all around us. Because it's not just our own minds getting in the way. Our environment is absolutely packed with things that pull our attention. These are the external factors. And these external barriers, man, they are everywhere. It could be the speaker themselves, maybe they have a really monotone voice, or the glitchy video call, or, the loud person at the coffee shop table next to you. Even the fear of getting or giving feedback can be a huge barrier. Let's be honest, we have all done this. We judge someone based on their accent, their delivery, how they're dressed, and we let that completely color our perception of what they're saying. If we don't really connect with the person delivering the message, we are way more likely to just dismiss the message itself. So how do we fight this? It really comes down to making a conscious choice. It's about separating the message from the messenger. Seriously, the next time you feel yourself judging the speaker, just pause and ask, okay, but what is the core idea here? That one little shift in focus can be a total game changer. And of course, the way we're communicating matters a ton. On a phone call, you're just getting words, no body language, no facial cues. A video call adds a bit more, but you're still missing a lot. Face-to-face gives you the most information for sure, but it also gives you the most potential for distraction. Each one of these requires a completely different level of focus from us. Okay. We've identified the culprits, the ones inside our heads, and the ones out in the world. So now what? Well, now we talk solutions. It's time to build your toolkit for becoming a truly intentional listener. These are simple, practical steps you can start using today, really. Stay engaged, try to anticipate where they're going next, and resist that powerful urge to critique how they're saying something. And Oh, here's a big one. Stop planning your brilliant comeback while they're still talking. Just listen. Try to grasp the main ideas, not every single little detail. And that really brings us to the core of this whole thing. See, hearing is biological. It's passive. It's like having the radio on in the background while you do other things. Your ears are working, but you're not engaged. But listening is an action. It's an intentional choice you make. And that's the real secret, isn't it? True listening isn't just about biting your tongue and waiting for your turn to speak. It's about giving another person the incredibly rare, incredibly valuable gift of your full, undivided attention. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. The next time someone is talking to you, you've got a choice. Are you just going to hear the words, or are you going to truly listen?